Hello, guys. Here we are again. Ben from Mouth of the Tyne. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We've got Neil and Joe.
How you doing, guys?
Who a lot of you guys will know from Twitter.
Hi, guys.
Thank you both for joining us tonight on this Transfer Central Live on a slightly underwhelming day. But, you know, we're going to cover everything anyway. And I'm very interested to get your thoughts on where we stand. You know, the signings we've made so far, is it enough? So yeah, we'll get into it. Let's get straight in there. But thanks a lot for joining us, guys.
Cheers, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Yeah, so we made some signings early doors. We got Botman in eventually. Obviously we've just brought Isak in the last few days, you know, 4 good signings. Target was signed on a permanent, and Pope as well. So the players we've brought in, absolute quality. Nobody can deny that. 4 excellent players. Target is very underrated as well. I think he could definitely play for England. Obviously, that's down to opinion, but I just think he's a very, very good left back. But they're the 4 we brought in. So we'll get straight into what do you guys think of the business so far? The 4 players what we've brought in. We won't touch on the people that we haven't brought in. Let's have a look at the ones what we have brought in. George, you want to go first and give us your thoughts?
Yeah, go ahead. So far, I'd rate it about an 8 out of 10 transfer window for the ones we have done. Like you touched on there, Matt Target, I believe at the moment on current form, England's best left back. Do I think he'll get picked? No, I don't, because it's based on opinions. We're Newcastle fans. Doesn't mean we're biased, but we know his record with picking Newcastle players. I think only 2 are going to see the squad in the winter, which is unfortunate because I think, again, like we say, he's definitely up there with the best left backs in England at the moment. Botman, what can we say? He has looked a man mountain. Not lost an aerial duel in the Premier League so far. That for 22, he's 2 years older than myself, and I would, in my wildest dreams, would I ever think that someone of my age could be in and around at the moment some of the top centre halves in the Premier League. I think that's a wonderful piece of business. And we were after him, as we know. Me and you, Ben, have spoken months and months and months about Botman, and we've been chasing him for ages and finally got it over the line. And I think that's very much down to Dan Ashworth. He is unbelievable what he does. Unbelievable. Nick Pope. In my opinion, and you guys can answer this with me, who thought he was going to be this good? I did not expect what's happened with Nick Pope.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
No,
Neil,
I had a conversation with someone about Nick Pope, and I hadn't really watched a lot of him at Burnley because I was just too focused on our own survival. And I was like, he can't be that good, surely. I say someone, it was my lad. He plays in goal. I should have listened to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. Honestly, Dad, you've got to listen to me. He's a sweeper keeper. He keeps clean sheets. He's decent with his feet. He commands a box. He's brilliant. He's an amazing keeper. And I think you can just see the defense is just so much more comfortable with him in goal.
100%.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that you've just said there is how confident I am now with a keeper coming out to claim stuff. Dubravka and Darlow, don't get me wrong, they've been fantastic servants. We'll get into Dubravka in a little while, but he's unbelievable coming for crosses, and that's what we've missed. We've not had a presence in the box. We've been relying on Lascelles to get it clear, Federico Fernandez, Kieran Clark, and now we've got Shah playing out of his skin, Sven Botman and Nick Pope. That core 3 in the middle, it's unbelievable at the moment for us. Nothing that I ever thought would happen. We was until last night, unfortunately, undefeated in the Premier League, which is a credit to all of them.
Yeah. We'll touch on that tonight in a bit. That was the bit of pill.
Yeah,
Sorry, Neil.
Sorry, man. I was just going to say, I'm sure that's our 7th defeat in 2022.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
which is a ridiculous stat.
It's ridiculous.
We used to.
It is actually insane. We're just so hard to beat. You know, like obviously we're not winning every game, but such a hard team to beat. And the start of the season's been so tricky as well. You know, we've played the two best sides in the league. Wolves away was always going to be tricky, whether they're in form or not in form. You know, so
Brighton's a tough place to go.
Yes, as well. Yeah, Brighton, that was the other one. So we've had like such a tough start. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I feel like we are a couple of players short. I feel like the signings what we've made are brilliant. Like you've just said there, Joe. But I feel like we are lacking that kind of the right wing quality. Miggy's been excellent, so it's not someone that I would want to drop immediately and just be like, yeah, get him out the team and let's get like a Diaby in the team, that type of signing. But I think we do need more quality there. I'll
give Ryan Fraser his credit yesterday.
Yeah,
he stepped up.
He did. Yeah.
But one thing with Miggy is you see all three of our strikers, and the one thing that all three of them have got in common is height, build, and they love a crossed ball. Yeah. Isak a little bit more likes to drop short. Miggy don't put the ball in. He's not a natural winger. He used to play as a 10 for Atlanta and used to feed balls through the line to Martinez, where you notice from back in their Bournemouth days, Ryan Fraser direct straight down the line, balls in the box. And that's what we miss. That is what we miss.
Yeah.
He has been essential to our high press, though. I mean, I'm quite glad that Miggy's been carrying on his preseason form into the first 5 games. But I think what he has been doing, his work rate, which will always contribute to Miggy, and his pace to try and get him behind, he's been essential to that high press. What you've said about and continuing on from what Joe said, you know, Pope, Target, who I absolutely adore. He's solid. He's workmanlike in the sense that he sticks to his task, doesn't lose focus, but equally he's happy to go toe to toe with anybody. And you know, yesterday he did a fantastic job. And Salah had a quieter game, you would say, than he probably would have had against us in other seasons because of what he did. What's apparent is we wait for our man now with Isak and Botman. You know, we won't panic like we would have. So even though we haven't brought any more signings in, we could have done with a centre midfield cover. Definitely could have done with a right winger, because we're drawing these games, which is brilliant. But I feel if we had that cutting edge, we could have got a result. If we had that final little bit of quality, we could have definitely had at least 9 to 12 points by now.
Yeah,
that little cutting edge.
We'll touch on Uggy what Uggy said here about Wood and Murphy, and it was very evident last night when we brought them on. You know, it was kind of like, let's just shut up shop. I mean, Murphy's just, from what I've seen so far this season, he seems to be like he's gone back over. You know, it's like this guy hasn't improved in any of the seasons what we've brought him. Even going out on loan, he kind of came back with a fresh start. And he looked a little bit better, you know, when Bruce started playing him at right back, and people thought, oh, he's got a new lease of life. But you know, it soon quickly went back downhill, and it's just like Neil's just said there. This is where we're lacking this kind of quality to, you know, we just haven't got it to bring on. You know, the first 11's brilliant. The first 11 when everyone's fit and firing, it to me, it's up there with any top 6 squad, maybe apart from Manchester City and Liverpool, but the rest of them, I think we can give anybody a game. But even saying that, we've already give them 2 teams a game already this season. I'm proving myself wrong there. But I just feel like we just need a couple more players. Like we'll touch on the centre mid now. Shelvey's injury, like I said in tweets earlier this week, that is going to be a bigger blow than I think any of us had anticipated. Some of us might. But I think a lot of people just like kind of shrug their shoulders. Oh, we've lost Shelvey for, you know, a few months. But that really, you know, hits when Bruno's injured and you've got Longstaff sitting in that role. He tries hard, but the quality again's not there. Although he improved as the game went on last night, he did improve once he, you know, got that 20-minute period where he was just kind of thought, oh, here we go again. But he kind of settled himself down. But in long term, if Bruno was out, I mean, luckily he looks like he's going to be back for the weekend, or if not the week after. Fingers crossed, yeah. But if he wasn't, and it was a long term, I would have thought that the club would have definitely acted this week. And I still think they should have, because to me, what the Bruno injury shows is that, yes, we've only lost them for a couple of weeks, but it could have easily been, or it still could easily be more in the future. And from now until Christmas, that would mean Longstaff playing in that defensive midfield role. I think it's a tightrope. I think we're walking a tightrope with that. I don't know what you guys think. Neil, do you want to touch on this defensive midfield position?
I mean, we're crying out for a 6. I think the club knew that we were crying out for a 6, and they were trying really, really hard. We all know that Bruno's best position is as an 8. In that double pivot, he's fantastic. And I've been harping on about it. You've probably seen me hijacking some of your tweets, Ben, all through the transfer window about options like Grealish, who just signed for Ajax.
Yeah,
would have been a really good addition. A defensive midfielder that can mop everything up. He can close down space and break the lines as well when need be. I think Longstaff's played better when he's played further up the pitch, kind of as a pseudo 10. But whilst he did, and he had an improved performance yesterday after the first shaky 15 minutes. I don't know if you noticed, from about 75 minutes, he started getting those mistakes again.
Yeah.
Dancing around at the edge of the box, not clearing things properly because he's just tired. I hope he improves. I hope he picks up from people like Bruno in training. But if you look at Bruno when he's in that position, and even to a degree Willock, they're constantly looking over the shoulder and scanning. Bruno will look around 3 or 4 times before he receives the ball, so he knows what to do. And what I noticed when I was at Wolves, when I was watching us play last week, was that he's just not massively aware of his surroundings. So I think we're going to get caught short. We really are. The positive is there's only 13 games till the new transfer window. Yeah, and it all stops again.
Yeah. I totally agree. Joe, what's your thoughts on Bruno? Playing in the defensive midfield role. Are we losing some of his quality there? Should we have brought someone in like Alvarez linked with? Can I get your thoughts on that?
Massively, mate. Massively. I think Callum's just put a message in there. We've got a group chat on there where we discuss on Twitter, where we discuss all players that we think is perfect. And as he said, they're perfect. That he was available for so long that there was obviously something right. It was whether signing a 6 was attitude. But my biggest thing with Eddie Howe when he picks players, and it's not a criticism, but I think if you saw, I think it was Keith's tweet today, they have to be characters that he wants, not just players to fill roles, which is key. Like Callum says there, Grealish, and I think there was one more why we didn't push on for the likes of the Ajax player Edson Alvarez.
Yeah.
Why we didn't push on for them is obviously because they've done their due diligence. They wouldn't not, because we're crying out for a defensive midfielder. Like you say, we have lost the quality with Bruno sitting a little bit deeper, and he's fantastic as we know. He's an unbelievable player, world class. But I think he will offer us a lot more in that 8, and I'm so very surprised we didn't go for a 6, because I think it's vital to, if he gets injured, we struggle with Longstaff. He's so slow, and that he's a Geordie boy, right? Through and through. I absolutely adore that. Someone playing for their local club, right? As you can tell by my accent, I'm from down south, so it's much more special for him to be playing for Newcastle United. But he's just not got the quality we need for that next step.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and it does really worry me. I think, once the dust has settled, I don't think we're going to bring anybody in this next couple of hours, but when the dust settles, I think people will also kind of agree with us. I I feel like we're going to be very lucky for Bruno to stay fit. And we've had like a little taster of what it's like life without Bruno these past couple of games. All it's going to take is that 2-week layoff to turn into a 2-month one. God forbid it doesn't happen. But there will be no other alternative than to play Longstaff there. And that's something that, we can say, yes, we've improved as a team, and it might mask his, inability and he's how he isn't that aware of what's around him, and, to have good players around him. But it's still going to be a tough ask if he did have to be, prolonged usage in that position. I think we would struggle, and I don't want to think about it. I actually don't want to think about it because it's really scary, and it could really throw off the season. Uggie's in here, could move Shah to a 6.
No, did he play
worst case scenario?
This comment, right? And my biggest pet peeve with this comment, and I know it's like he says, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But if you watch his games for Switzerland, and we all know as a centre half, he has one mistake in him every game. Luckily, recently, it's not been costing to a goal. But if you've watched Fabian Schär for years, he always has a mistake no matter what game he plays in. And for them, in the 6, or even if he played for us, in the Premier League, when you bring Lascelles back into the team or Burn back into the team, I love Dan Burn, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love him. But Dan Burn and Jamal Lascelles, bar last night, I don't think, again, where we need to be at a level of Premier League. Our 2 best centre-halves are Botman and Schär. And Schär gets away with that mistake because he's got Kieran Trippier, who is by far the best signing we've made for different reasons other than playing, because the guy's a captain, a leader, World Cup semi-finalist, Euro finalist, Champions League finalist. The list goes on, it's endless. And then Bruno in front of him. So he's got enough around him where if he was sat in the 6 with Lascelles behind him, it's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it kind of unsettles the whole lineup, doesn't it? It's that argument of, we can. And I had the same conversation with a few people on Twitter this week about, I've been a big advocate for bringing in a right back to replace Kraft. And, I had an argument kind of black's white that I think it was, again, with Looney Tune, who I get on great with, but we often have opposing opinions, which is hilarious because some people think I'm actually him on Twitter. But if anybody who knows us, know our Twitter's our opinions are like polar opposites sometimes, even though I do have a lot of respect for him. But he was saying like, we'll be fine. We've got loads of cover at fullback, and he mentioned like Richie and
I jumped on that.
Yeah, yes, and we can play Burn there, and we can move Shard to share to right back, and it's like you're naming all these players, but none of them can actually really play in the position.
Not good enough.
It's just
it's making.
I'm not talking about for one game. I'm talking about for like a half a season. Neil, what's your thoughts on reshuffling the team just to accommodate? It doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't work. It's making do. And one thing that Eddie Howe does, I think Eddie Howe, I might be wrong, but I can't remember many times where he's played people out of position. He likes to, maybe the Botman piece we'll see over time, because he sees Botman more as a right-sided centre-back eventually. He's said, I've heard a few times, I agree, sure. And Botman seems to be the best pairing. But we've got Manquillo. I was really excited about Ashby from West Ham because from what I'd heard, he was a younger version of Trips with a lot to learn. He played like him. He was progressive with the ball. Need to work a little bit more on his defensive duties, but he liked to be a bit more progressive with the ball as a right back and break the lines a little bit. And I think we're a little bit light on cover because Kraft was doing really well.
Yeah,
Manquillo has been out the team for a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
Sorry, Neil.
He could be in trouble.
Yeah, no, that just to touch on Manquillo there, and that was another point that Looney made on Twitter. It was like, he was mentioning, it's like, well, yeah, that's fine saying that, but the guy's hardly been fit in 2022. We're talking like massive periods where he's just not available. You know, he misses I think he missed pre-season last season. He's missed pre-season this season. You know, it's like huge chunks of the season just missing. He's not a bad player when he's fit and firing. I think Kraft's better defensively now from what I've seen his improvements. But, you know, it's just a shame. But I do hope, you know, it looks like the Ashby deal's not going ahead now. So it looks like we're going to have to live with what we've got, guys, you know. So it is a shame because I do feel at some point, you know, hopefully not before January, but I do feel like it's going to bite us in the ass. If Trippier gets basically the key positions, if Trippier gets injured, then I think we screwed in that position. If Bruno gets injured while Shelby's out, I think we're screwed in that position. So to me, the right back and centre mid or defensive midfield are two of the most important. They're like keystones of that team. If you lose a right back for a prolonged period, and same as a, you know, a central mid or deep lying playmaker, defensive midfielder, whatever they are, you know, you're going to struggle if you haven't got that squad depth. And they are the two key positions that I'm worried about. We didn't bring in a winger, but I'm not too bothered about that. I feel like we might just have enough. You know, Fraser can play both sides, Maxi can play both sides, Almiron can play both sides. So I think we're going to be all right, but I just worry about right back if Trips gets injured and if we get another injury in centre mid with Bruno. So yeah, let's stay positive, but it doesn't look like we're going to add anyone to that squad. So we've got what we've got.
A few late tweets that have come through. I've got Twitter up while we're here.
Oh yeah.
For anyone that follows Magpie Media,
yeah,
they've posted 9 minutes as a people carrier inside Benton as we speak.
Right.
Probably nothing.
You know, that's interesting.
There's a tweet on there.
Yeah.
And as that tweet came out, a Pete Graves tweet came out saying Newcastle had a handful of plates spinning earlier today, but unable to make a breakthrough thus far. It seems, in quotations, unlikely now. They are very happy with the business, and he'll do a reflection on Instagram later. But in quotations, there's unlikely, and like we say, probably nothing. But there is a people carrier inside Benton as we speak.
Has he actually posted a picture of it there, has he? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there is a people carrier in there.
Magpie Media, they're a funny account.
They are.
They got a few things right early doors, which when they first came about, which led me to believe that they might actually have a few, spies about the training ground and such. And then they kind of went off the boil a bit. There was a lot they predicted. I mean, it is hard, you know, even the stuff that you hear. I've had abuse over things, and
we all do.
Yeah, man. It's like, you know, you share what you hear, and Sean Casey's, he's very much the same, and you know, he polarized opinions, but certain things I've posted and Sean's posted and other people like Looney, even Craig Cousy, who we had releasing the team news early 2 weeks in a row. You know, he got loads of stick for it, and he was right hours before. So it's like I've still got a lot of time for people to put stuff out there. Yeah, man.
What's the biggest
it's so dynamic? It changes so much that actually you share what you've heard, and at that time you take it in good faith. But they've got so many plates spinning. They're working, and especially on deadline day, 4 or 5 different deals. I can't even fathom what they're trying to do at any one time, trying to get a deal over the line. That things do shift. But just quickly picking up on Uggie's comment about 21 signings at Forest.
Yeah,
I like the fact that we've got a plan. I like the fact that we're not just trying to get anyone and everyone in. We know exactly what we want, and we won't settle for less.
Exactly. Just touching on that before we move on to that Callum one just down there, because that is 100% right. I believe that Eyes was just for us to watch Sky Sports today. But just exactly what you guys were going on about, what people don't realise, and this latest one that's also just been put on the screen is exactly true, because yourself, Ben, you get stick for putting out what people tell you. Not what it's not coming from your own head. You're not going, this has happened. You're putting your head above the parapet and going, okay, someone's told me this. I'll take it in good faith. I'll whack it on Twitter.
Yeah.
bang,
That's
bang,
all.
bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, he came up with that. That was his idea.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, man. It's I'll still continue to do it because I do
100%.
genuinely believe that I got I still got two or three sources, although it's slowed down drastically since Ashworth came in. It's nowhere near as fluid as it was the leakages, but I'll still keep sharing it. Craig's a good guy. He looks like he's getting good info at the minute. So as long as he continues to pass that on, I'll share that for him on his behalf. And we'll keep it going. I like it, man. It gives people hope, and every now and again it's like wrong. Yeah, we understand that, but let's just it's a bit of fun and it's entertainment, and
Exactly
people we're doing it just to try and help you guys out. You know what I mean? It's not like I've already got the followers. I don't care how many. I've got, like, the old joke is I've got half of Twitter blocked. I'm not interested about losing a few followers. So
Exactly that.
yeah, man, it's all good fun. But yeah, so right, where are we at now? Where were we? The people carrier. I hope that is something.
There was a message right at the top. And it's obviously the latest news with Chelsea. They've got the centre midfielder coming in on loan from Juventus.
Yeah.
Where does that leave Conor Gallagher?
Yeah, very true. I would love a late deal. And although it looks unlikely to me in the next 90 minutes, what gives me hope, and this is what's changed from the Ashley years, is that under Ashley it was, like I said the other day on another show, if you get to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and Lee Charnley would message the local journals saying, look, just tell them it's that's it. We're closed. Newcastle United are closed for business. How many times have we actually seen that? We've never actually had that this year. We didn't have it in January. We haven't had it now. Yeah, we've had people say it looks unlikely, and
Luke Edwards is the only one that's come out with them words. Newcastle are closed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Which you kind of guess that would happen.
It's been a message all the way through both transfer windows that if it's the right player, they'll move for him. So that regardless of whether or not it's 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, if the right player becomes available, because the dominoes start falling, they'll move for him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting 90 minutes, and then we'll see we'll maybe do a show in a few days and take stock a bit more. But it does look like this is kind of what we have. But it'll be interesting. I'll keep an eye on that one after we come off air and see if it is something.
Yeah, no, 100%.
What gives me hope as well is the fact that we do a lot of stuff in secret. I mean, the Isak deal.
Where did it come from?
It's funny enough. It was one of the deals that 2 weeks before, Neil, I think. Was this one? I can't remember now. I get that much information sent. But somebody, I think it was Neil and another person, I got 2 people about 2 weeks before Isak said, this one's on. It will be on in the final few days of the window, final few weeks. And Oscar as well, was it?
Oscar was key on that. He was me and him talking the DMs quite a lot. He was on Isak from probably about 2 weeks before it happened. I said, no, I don't believe it. Callum in the chat, he in our group chat was hot on Isak as well. He said that it was one to watch, and I was a bit like, I don't think for the price that he is, we're going to move for him that late. We may see a winger come in instead of a striker and something. And then out of nowhere, it was the foreign media that hit bang straight away, and then it was a whirlwind 24 hours, and then he comes.
Yeah, it was completely, like took me by surprise. Like I say, when I was sent that info a couple of weeks before, I put it out. But I think when I put it out at the time, I think I put my opinion with it that it's probably unlikely. But he is, I've heard from 2 people that say he's very still much high on the list. And although I didn't actually, maybe it's 100% believe it proved to be right. So I think what I want to try to say is that, like, because we do keep things fairly secret, that probably nothing will happen in this next 90 minutes. But it's so nice to be able to think it could, which we didn't have this under Ashley. This element of, it's like the Christmas Eve kind of, vibe of, like what we're going to get. There's still time to, get a present, and it's like, it's 90 minutes to go, but it's not going to be ruled out like it was under Ashley early in the day. And that's another little thing that I really enjoy about the club at the minute is that even like little things like transfer deadline day, it's got the buzz back, man. It's got the buzz back and gives people something to look forward to. And we're actively trying to improve the squad, not just like putting bids in that we know kind of won't be accepted or so I am shocked. I think when I think back, in retrospect, if the window so far, I am a little bit shocked. We went like kind of, I think it was about 6 or 7 weeks after Botman without trying like to actually sign somebody as in a bid going in with I think that was like João Pedro or something when we started to like up our game again, and it just didn't. I don't know, man. It's like obviously there's a master plan, but I do feel like there was a big period of inactivity where it was like, well, obviously just assessing, and Ashworth came in, and it was, to me, it's slightly disappointing that we haven't gotten the 2 extra people in that I think we need. But obviously the 4 that we brought in are brilliant. So it's like, this is what I try and get across on Twitter. We can have an opinion that we should have done more or could have done more, but we can still be extremely happy and grateful for what we have. It's not like they're not mutually exclusive. We can have these 2 opinions at the same time.
100%. 100%.
I mean, if you think about it, I think a lot of the clubs that we're dealing with have made it difficult for us to do business, like really, really difficult from what I've heard. And which other club has had 2 major board members join within the transfer window? There's no other. So we've had Ashworth come in, and he's going to want to get his feet under the table and figure things out, even though he's probably been doing a bit of work since he's been on gardening leave. And then we've had
Darren Eels.
Eels come in, who I think is going to be phenomenal. I think he's going to be an amazing addition. But
massive.
I think there's now a period of the need to just kind of see where we are, consolidate, and plan for January. But I heard we were trying to do bits today still, and they just made things so hard for us to deal with them. So challenging.
Yeah,
and this is the Newcastle tax, unfortunately.
Feels like a lot of clubs and officials are going to be against us, doesn't it? From last night's result to club making it difficult today. And it's going to take a few years before we actually kind of can steamroll over people.
Massively.
We're not quite there yet. And Joe, what's your thoughts on Eels? What he might bring in regards to the commercial side of things?
Wow. Where to start with a man? He took Atlanta from over in America. Obviously, the MLS is a bit different. Football fans over there are how would I put it? Right, they're not as crazy as us, especially us Newcastle fans. It's football or nothing, right? With us lot, we absolutely live and breathe it. But theirs is a lot more commercial. Football's a brand. Everything in America is a brand, and he built that from the bottom to the top to get in them the MLS Championship. Brand exposure. If you hear of a few teams in the MLS, you go, in my opinion, you think LA Galaxy, you think Atlanta, and you probably think of the new David Beckham one in Inter Miami. They're the 3. And to think 2 of them, one of them's famous because of David Beckham, we understand that, and the players that he can bring there. One of them's been an MLS team for years. And one of them's Atlanta, that was made from the bottom to the top with Darren Eels there, and has taken it global, absolutely global. You wouldn't have had players signing for ourselves from Atlanta if there wasn't the man that spearheaded their way up the league in the MLS. And that is what's key. If you can run a brand in America, you can run a brand in England. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. What's the best way to put it? Have you seen the YouTube video of him?
Yeah.
Have you seen that video of all the pranks and stuff like that?
Yeah. It's a great compilation.
He opens everyone's eyes to the back room of Newcastle without showing too much, obviously, of exposing details of what goes on. Yes. He lets fans in, and that's what we've always need. When would that have ever happened with Mike Ashley?
Exactly.
It wouldn't. If we all now, and especially after that interview that came out the other day, which was unbelievable, we all feel like that club and fans are so united at the moment.
Yeah.
We're starting to feel like Newcastle United.
Yeah,
The
we are.
engagement is amazing, and the riffs are just naturally healing because we always just talk about Ashley divide and conquer, the divisive nature of. We're obsessed fans. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
My lad was laughing at me at one point because I remember he said, "Do you remember when I was 4 years old? You said, don't join the roller coaster. Just choose a different team, get Champions League football." And he turned around and said, "No, Dad, I'm going to support Newcastle, like you." And so he was laughing at me. But he said, "We're just nutters. We're nutters. We're obsessed."
Crazy.
That's like the song.
And he's
we
bring that fan engagement.
We are mad.
We are mad. We are mad.
We wouldn't have it any other way. So whilst some decisions aren't going our way, I think there's an element of us that think, okay, this isn't fair again. But then there's an element of us, we're all Geordies. Obviously, I haven't got a Geordie accent, but but we're Geordies at heart, and we're like, bring it on. Yeah. If it's us against the world,
that's the main thing.
Even I'm not a Geordie. I'm from Durham. I'm a Durham mag. So
I'm in Sacriston tomorrow, lads. Don't worry. I'm round the corner. Yeah.
Nice.
Good man.
Man.
I'm at the point where I used to come up now and then, right? Now and then with Newcastle. I've always loved Newcastle. I used to do a few away days in London, and I'll come up probably 3 times a year. I haven't got a season ticket, and I'm now spending £200 a week to make sure I am at St James's Park. Train tickets from London, everything I need to do to stay up there. I can't think of anything better that I want to spend my money on at the moment. I love it. It's so united.
I'll happily drive the 300, 400 odd miles that I need round trip, whatever, just to get that. And I'm now dragging everyone up. Liv makes a good point. I think people are rattled, and I actually do think that the club are starting to see us maybe progress. And it's early days. We all get carried away. That's what we do as Newcastle fans. 5 games in, we all get carried away.
Yeah.
But I think the gap between us and the top 8, top 6, it's not that huge.
No.
Consistency is excellent. You have to be consistent. There's 33 games to go, yeah. But I think Klopp was rattled yesterday, and I loved it.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in and touch on that one. It was like a snapshot into the future, wasn't it? It was like a little like through the keyhole of what we can expect. I was quite surprised actually. I felt we know Klopp's a bit renowned for this. It's become a bit of part and parcel of his personality, hasn't it? This kind of this attitude of crying if he doesn't win, and this whole kind of vibe he gives off is everything has to be his way or the highway. And it's like I didn't really see much wrong with it last night. I don't know if I was watching through black and white tinted glasses, but I didn't see this massive amount of time waste. And I saw a couple of periods of quite clever game management, but we weren't rolling around on the floor, or I've seen like Wolves players do that with us at the weekend. They're very much like falling down at a just at the drop of a hat. And
every 5 minutes it was
90-something minute. Would Joe Linton have put the ball in the box if we were time wasting?
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
he went for it. And I actually thought, in other games, Howe might have lost his rag at that for Joe not keeping the ball, and having better game management. But at the end of the day, I think he probably wouldn't have said anything because we created such a good chance from it with Elliott almost getting a shot away at goal. And then obviously it just wasn't to be. But it does feel like from both sides, from the officials yesterday, they didn't seem to want us to draw or get the point or win the game. And then the fans as well at the end, and Klopp. Like it was like a snapshot in the future of like, oh right, I didn't realize we were actually this hated so quickly. I think people got a shock. I think the fans, Liverpool must have been watching us and thinking they weren't like this last season when we last saw them. Who oh wow, they've really improved. And I think it must have shocked them.
4 key players.
Yeah. With the kind of reserve team out, and obviously Klopp as well. It clearly rattled him and their bench. Which they are getting a bit of name, they've got a bit of a name for that themselves at the minute, doing stuff like that. But I feel like it is a snapshot into the future, and it was like I actually got shocked. I didn't realize how vilified we weren't in the climax with the booing off I'm sure you guys both saw the video.
Absolutely,
the entire team
booed
off as if
my
like,
uncle was at Anfield. He's a Liverpool supporter, and he was messaging me saying about time wasting, and I was just replying saying, "It's funny how it's time wasting when it's Newcastle, but it's gamesmanship for everybody else."
Yes.
And he was like, "Yeah, we were booing them," and I was just like, "Right, I'm going to keep this text message February the 18th. We'll see what happens."
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You know what? That even if Eddie Howe, you make a really good point, Ben. Even if Eddie Howe wasn't happy with Joe, he'd deal with it internally. He wouldn't say anything in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
He's got more class and decorum, and he showed that yesterday in the interviews as well, compared to how Klopp came across. And I'm not hating on Klopp, but you know, he was bitterly disappointed, but he didn't say anything about the VAR decision for Isaac, who, by the way, is a core customer for a goal. I mean, that guy has ice in his veins.
Yeah,
amazing.
That, like I said last night, that was two £60 million finishes.
Yeah, they're not fraud finishes either. They were ice cool.
Yeah,
the second one, which we won't talk about it because it upsets me still. But the second one, he made that defense, that Liverpool defense. He made them look ordinary.
Yeah.
Can we all agree on something here though? As when we're talking about England as well, Trent Alexander-Arnold defensively is horrific. He got caught out by our boys. So Ryan Fraser had him on toast. Yeah. For Isaac's goal on toast as well. We looked, but that's how far we've come, and it's a compliment to our boys that we've made what people say as the best defense, one of the best defenses in Europe, look so average.
Yeah, totally agree. It was mind blowing to watch. The second goal in particular, I was like, I just kind of like there was like even before people noticed the flag, like Anfield was like utterly stunned and silent. All you could hear was the Geordies, and Isak just kind of like strolled away as if like, because I thought it immediately realized that he was offside, but he hadn't. It took him a few seconds before he did the look over his shoulder, and it was just the way he coolly walked away and was like this. To him, that was like meat and drink. It was just, this is what I do. Get used to it. I've just scored 2 goals at Anfield on my debut.
After 2 light training sessions with his team, Ben. After 2 light training sessions with his team.
Very true. Yeah, he's going to be a star, man. We're going to have there's going to be so many good things to talk about over the next few years. It really is special. And to be honest, it's one of the reasons why I've started this off. I want to do these shows. I'm at least going to do them for this season, and we'll see where we are at the end of the season. Ideally, I would like to do this, forever, because I feel like the good times are coming, man. I do.
Massively. That's what's key. That's what's key. Someone said to me the other day, in a group chat, they were like, why don't you start something else that's to do with like media, to do with Newcastle and stuff like that? And it's like, I'm so happy joining in on someone else's and being a part of someone else's, where you can have like a podcast or an interview or a chat or something. Yeah. Then going and doing someone else's and just getting your feeling without the sort of, I've got to keep up, because all credit to yourself, mate. You work so hard in what you do day in, day out, with a job as well.
It's been so hard.
Yeah,
I went to just check on Twitter.
Now in this.
Yeah.
I just went to check on Twitter, and I automatically checked your feed, and then realised whilst on here, bugger, I'm actually on Ben's show. You probably won't be tweeting.
Yeah. I was eating a Mexican, and I got the text, and I was like, yes, I'm in. I
was just kind of scrabbling around, and I think you're both. It's obviously we all talked about it the other day when I put the tweet out. I'm looking for people, like-minded fans, and you two were both 2 of the first that replied. So obviously you're very, very top of the list, guys. You know what I mean? Thanks once again for coming on, and you know what I mean. We'll hopefully we'll do some more of these shows. But yeah, so
definitely.
We'll I was going to just say there, we'll maybe move on to Dubravka, just that post what we saw tonight before we came on air.
I
think we could talk a little about this. So just for everyone that hadn't seen it, Dubravka on Insta had basically posted a picture, presumably taken by his lass, of him just sat watching the Man United game, Man United training kit on, with basically like, you know, come on boys, or whatever it said, and obviously watching the Man United match. And that was only like half an hour or maybe an hour or something after he tweeted like a really heartfelt message on Twitter and Instagram, and what have you, all the social media. And we kind of read it and I thought, have I been a bit harsh on him? I know I've been quite harsh on him for wanting this move. Then I read it and I thought, oh yeah, man, it's like, it's just a professional at the end of the day. He's wanting to move to a different club. But then, so I read it, I thought, obviously he's enjoyed his time here. And then an hour later, the guy sat in a full Man United kit, sitting watching his team, which, bearing in mind, he's still on loan. To me, it just didn't sit very well. I thought
he'd been on loan for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah. I wouldn't have minded maybe, even a week or two in. But on the very night that your move's confirmed, after you've just tweeted a heartfelt message, to the fans, and then you do that. To me, that was ridiculous timing and bad taste. Do you guys agree, or am I just ranting?
Massively.
No, I agree. I don't understand the move at all. We've strengthened a rival. Yeah. We've weakened ourselves. He's swapping number 2 for number 2. What I'm annoyed about is he's a great shot stopper, and there's areas of his game that he needed to improve on. I don't think he was going to at his age, but he'd still want to fight for his place. Like, I couldn't believe that he didn't want to fight for his place. Nick Pope, he could have been injured last night, right? When he went down the 3rd minute or whatever, and with his vision problem, he could have been injured. And I don't understand it. I couldn't understand. We've worshipped this guy. We basically have worshipped this guy for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
And I thought he was a true professional, but good luck to him. We're going to be better.
That's the only thing
we've upgraded. Say. Good luck to him. I think it was in real bad taste.
It has been a fairy tale sort of signing. To pick him out of the Slovakian league for 4.5 million, and for that debut against Manchester United was an unbelievable goalkeeping performance, and he's been fantastic for us. But to cement yourself and have people say he was first name on the team sheet for many years, like I know it's cliche to say that about a goalkeeper, but he was. We had Darlow or Woodman or whatever, just not as quality as Dubravka.
Yeah.
There's ways. I think it's the next one down. A comment. Sam summed it up absolutely perfectly. For being what you would call, I wouldn't say legend, but as of recent years, he's been one of our best players. There's a way.
Part of the backbone of the side.
There's a way to leave a club. And today he's let himself down massively, considering he's returning in 12 months' time.
Yeah, in theory, at least at the minute, nothing's been obliged just yet. Yeah, totally agree. I just feel like it's just bad taste. And I tell you another little thing. I was joking with Pauls today, Tim Pauls, that his Nick Pope tweet had something to do with all this. I was just joking when I said it, but I do put myself into Dubravka's shoes that Pope's come in and he's realised that he's going to have competition, and straight away I think what was said from the agent the very day Pope signed or the next day was that, we'll try our best in pre-season, but if we're not number one by the start of the season, we're out of here. Now that was pretty much like the first day after Pope signed, and I never quite truly believed it. But then, obviously, it has come to pass.
See if it focuses.
Yeah.
I think it will. But there's on the screen. I don't think it will focus because of my camera. It's got the tweet from Newcastle United saying Nick Pope.
Oh yeah. That's brilliant.
Class picture.
But just from Dubravka's point of view. If you joined a club, if a new signing joined a club and you were kind of, thinking about competing with them for one spot, and then the whole Nick Pope thing kicked off, where everybody just tweeted your kind of rival for that spot, your teammate, but he's your rival for the spot. started tweeting his name in support of whatever. We're not even quite sure why it happened, but they were tweeting his name, and it just gathered pace so quickly. And all these big brands were doing it, and every fan. To me, that would have been quite unsettling. As a goalkeeper or in any form of job, when your colleague who's possibly competing with you for a role was suddenly championed by the entire fan base
and nation.
Yeah, and nation and worldwide at one point, Twitter. I just found that, to me, that would unnerve me. So I do feel that probably would have played a part in his mind. He probably thought, I ain't got a chance here. This guy's England #1. This is an English club, English manager. You know what I mean? It's this guy's, he should be England #1.
There is factors, but
yeah,
it's harsh what he's done, but we just got to wish him luck. And then if we see him again and he's another year older, if he fancies being a number 2 finally for us, because we've gone up again and we're now breaking that sort of top 8, top 6 bracket. If he then it all comes down to if we welcome him back with open arms. If not, then
it is a funny one though, purely for the fact that he's going to be what you would think a number 2 there as well. It's very strange, isn't it? So I think that's not sat well with people. All I can think as well is that Manchester United obviously does look good on your CV when you retired in 20. Obviously it won't be 20 years for him, but in the future he can look back in 20, 30 years and think, I played for Manchester United. It's something to tell the grandkids type of thing. And
in 10 years' time for Newcastle as well, to say you're 2 clubs in England when Newcastle.
That's it. Yeah, so that's why it's disappointing, because it's not as if we're still under the Ashley years. It would have been nice just to. I think I would have been happy if he'd just gone next season. He'd done a year, made minimal appearances, and said, "Look, I've got to go." But possibly, people are saying the World Cup coming up. Yeah, that's great, but he's going to be a number 2. So
the only thing that if they've said he's going to play their Europa League group stage games, you can then go, right, okay, he wants to play in the Europa League, and then say, for example, on the miracle, I wouldn't say miracle because we're up there, right? If we keep this form and consistency, like you said, Neil, was key. If we can end up nicking the last Europa League spot or the Europa Conference spot, he might come back and say, okay, now Newcastle have got Europe. If I'm going to be a number 2, I'll do it in the group stages and enjoy European football. They rest Nick Pope and they go again in the Premier League with Pope. But that's the only thing I can see has maybe been the lure to go to Manchester United as a 2, is that he might get the European games.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point. I think we'll move on. I think Pope is house man. I think he'll find somebody else. I think we signed that young lad. I know he's only 20, but accordingly had some promise as a youth keeper early on this year. They'll keep trying to invest, and then we'll just move on in the situation. Just quickly change the subject. Just picking up some of the comments about Mora. I heard that Mora was dead in the water as soon as it came out. I don't think there's any chance of us getting Mora on loan.
Yeah, I think that would have been again really very quite like an impulse buy, wouldn't it? At the end of which we tend to think we're not really doing at the minute. Impulse buys. It's been a great show, guys. Just thinking if there's anything else we can cover before we leave it.
That last one from Callum.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, can you imagine at half time today?
Madison and Tielemans will both want out in January. Gone. They will not
get Tielemans. I thought we would have got Tielemans today. Or Louise, because we wanted Louise as well at one point.
Finish 1-0 Manchester United. So, lads, thank you ever so much.
Thank you, Ben.
No, guys, listen, it's been brilliant, and I want to do more of these. I hope we can get you both back, John. Neil, absolutely brilliant. Just want to say to the guys out there listening, please help support the channel any way you can. The old like and subscribe for a new channel like this means a lot.
Get that.
We're trying to grow the community. Like I said the other day in a few tweets, just want knowledgeable fans on. We've seen another 2 knowledgeable fans tonight. This is what we want: a few laughs, in-depth conversations. Just try to create a community. You know, there might be other channels like this, but I want to create something really for the Twitter community. You know, we've become quite close knit on there, and we'll try and expand the kind of the realm of Mouth of the Tyne and see where it takes us, man. I'm not even sure where we're going to go myself, but you know, let's all just enjoy the journey, because it's going to be a crazy few years.
It's going to be a brand, Ben.
Yeah, man. We'll try our very best. But thanks again, guys. It's been brilliant.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Hope everyone's enjoyed it at home. And yeah, let's see how things pan out for this final hour. I'll do a few tweets between 10 and 11, but it's not looking good. But stranger things have happened, guys. So thanks very much. And yeah, we'll see you all soon. Cheers. All the best. Bye. Thanks, guys.